Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to a review of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. You know, if you're a weirdo and you've decided to pick that one up, I can't really help you there. But, you know, we're going to be looking at this game right here, and it's a very popular game. It's the best-selling Switch title at the moment, and the game is not even 2 months old. That's pretty impressive. And not only that, it's also one of the most polarizing games in the whole history of the Pokemon franchise. So, is it as horrible and detestable as everybody claims that it is? Or could it actually be good? I don't know. You're going to have to watch the review to find out. Hope you guys all enjoy this one. Never in my time have I seen such a controversial Pokemon game. This has definitely had a lot of people, Pokemon fans, split down the middle. They don't know what to think about this entry. So many changes, yeah! I can't handle it. I'm here once again as the voice of reason. You know, when it comes to a lot of things here on YouTube, you know, it's time to calm down and assess the situation like normal human beings. So, we're talking here about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. You know, if you're a weirdo, you'd go with the Eevee. I don't understand how anybody could go with the Eevee entry here. You know, when you've got Pikachu and you got Eevee, it's like, how are you going to pick Eevee? You just got to go with Pikachu. And I know a lot of people like to be rebels because Pikachu is the poster boy. Oh, I'm going to pick the Eevee game to be different. So go ahead and be different. Pick the Eevee. But if anybody's curious what version of the game is, well, you could obviously tell from the footage here that I've personally selected the Pikachu variety for this game. So, but pretty much the same game. The only difference being at the start of the game, you get to choose Eevee. So, you know, and your rival is going to pick the opposite Pokemon. So, I think that this game is good. Yeah, I think it's good. Not only do I think it's good, I think it's excellent. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite games that I've played all throughout 2018. And probably one of my favorite games maybe that I've played ever. Why? Well, I am a huge fan of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And this more specifically is said to be a remake of Pokemon Yellow. And those games have a large part and role in my childhood. And I love them for that. And for anybody curious about how I feel exactly about those original Game Boy games, go check out my recent review of Pokemon Red and Blue. But for right now, we're going to talk about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and how it remakes Yellow and how it's an incredible 3D experience. So, you know, let's talk about this as a remake and what it means to me. So, this is a dream come true. I mean, honestly, I dreamt ever since that this game came out on Game Boy that it could have been on the N64. And now it's on the Switch. A far superior console graphically. And now to see all of Kanto recreated, the region in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, Kanto recreated in 3D in a colorful world with a brilliant color palette. I mean, this is awesome. This is more than I could have ever hoped for as a kid. To think that I waited over 20 years to finally get one of my dreams, my childhood dreams, to become a reality. That's why this game means a lot to me. So, let's get a little in depth here and talk about, just how this game was made and a lot of the features involved. So, as I said, Kanto has been completely put into the third dimension. We've never seen Kanto like this. This is why it drove me absolutely crazy when people said, oh, we already have remakes, of Pokemon Yellow pretty much, because it's just basically, all Pokemon Yellow really was a cash-in of, to capitalize off of the anime, making a few little changes that were in the anime, such as Team Rocket being represented by Jesse and James in certain parts of the game, and having Pikachu alongside you, which is all those features have carried over. You've got Jesse, you've got James, you've got Meowth at their side, you've got Pikachu. You just don't have Ash. That's pretty much all that's missing here. And there's definitely some story changes that have been made from this version than were in Yellow. But, to say that Fire Red and Leaf Green were good enough, okay, those games were not 3D, people. What part of 3D remake do you not understand? We've never seen Kanto in the third dimension. And the thing is, what I like about these games is they greatly remind me of the amazing Ore region games, which were Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Gale of Darkness, which I do have a review on archived on my channel, so you could go check that out. I'll also, post a little pop-up here so you could click on that and you could view the video. So, probably one of the most polarizing features in this game is how you collect the wild Pokemon. How you go about catching the wild Pokemon. How you go about, handling the situation. And how you go about gaining experience points. So in the originals, you'd walk into the tall grass, or, it's supposed to be tall grass. But anyway, you'd walk through these grassy areas. You'd walk around in them, going back and forth, up and down, until you encountered a Pokemon. So, it was much to the akin of, the old Final Fantasy games. And people enjoyed this function a lot. Or, so they say now. Because people used to really hate a lot of these random encounters, especially when they've already caught the Pokemon that they're encountering. It got a little bit too much, and people always said, thank God for repels. People complain, oh, I run into, thousands of Zubats. Well, now you can actually see those Pokemon on the overall map, which is just so fucking awesome to me. To see the Pokemon actually walking around, flying around, while you're walking around, while you're controlling, the character in-game, which you could give a name to, same way as it was on Game Boy. It's not Red, it's another trainer this time around. I think it's completely awesome. I mean, when you go into Mount Moon, the fact that you could actually see the Zubats, you could see Geodudes roaming around, and all of a sudden the big fucking Onix comes out of fucking nowhere. I mean, this was really, without exaggeration of any sort, it was blowing my mind. I was like, holy shit, this is so great. And before I got the game, I'm like, how are people knocking this? If you're a Pokemon fan, I mean, I have to assume this is probably younger, newer fans who have probably been spoiled. But even so, even if we're talking about Pokemon Sun and Moon, this still looks 10 times better. It's crystal clear. There's no sharp edges. Everything looks smooth and silky and colorful. Like I said, a brilliant color palette. So I don't really see where the complaints are coming from here. So the only difference is that now when you encounter the wild Pokemon, you throw Pokeballs at them, such as in Pokemon Go. So you don't actually chip away at their damage. You don't actually battle them with another Pokemon. It enters into a screen, and you use the Wii's motion controls to flick Pokeballs at it. And I actually really enjoyed using these motion controls. I think it works really well. And it's one of the few times, maybe the only time, that you actually have to use the motion controls throughout the game. The only thing is that it has a weird way of being controlled. You have to have, both pieces of the controller. You have to have both pieces separated. You can either play with the left stick or the right stick. And, I chose to go with the right stick. And, it is a little bit annoying having that little controller in your hand, but you'll get used to it after a while. Why they didn't go for support on the Pro Controller is beyond me. People are saying perhaps they'll patch it in. I kind of doubt it. But anyway, I think it works. And since you're going to be using the motion controls for the catching mechanic, you probably don't want to use the Pro Controller for that. So, the thing is, you're saying, well, okay, Brad, so, this has been a staple of the Pokemon games since Gen 1, which this is supposed to be a remake of. Yeah, I realize that. But you see, you know what the funny thing is? And many, 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 many people have mentioned this in their reviews of first-gen Pokemon games, and even the generations after that. You know what they said? They said that they thought it was fucking annoying how they had to chip away at the damage of these wild Pokemon. See, the thing is, say you're facing a legendary bird Pokemon. Say you're facing off against Articuno, for example. Okay, Articuno is weak against fire because it's an ice bird Pokemon. Okay, so we're going to use that type advantage, and we're going to choose Charizard, say, to go up against Articuno. You use Charizard, and say you use Flamethrower. You can knock out Articuno in one hit, and you would sometimes fail to capture it. And God forbid you didn't save your game. That's it. You knocked out Articuno. Now, in the original games, it would have made sense to, for a KO, maybe you'd want to catch the Pokemon after knocking it out. That's your success for victory. Okay, maybe that would be too easy. But a lot of people complain because in order, especially with legendary Pokemon such as Articuno and Zapdos, you'd have to, get their health down to just, a little tiny millimeter, of an inch of health, and hope and pray that it doesn't break free of the ball that you throw at it. It was, okay, there was some stress involved in it, but a lot of people said they didn't like it. So where are those people now to appreciate the brand new mechanic that's been featured in this game? You no longer have to do chip away damage. So if you have a level 60 Venusaur, and say you wanted to catch a lower level Pokemon, now it makes it a lot more easy because it doesn't matter what level your Pokemon at. Alright, all that matters is the little mini game that you enter into, and I think it's pretty fun and intuitive. The rings, it's different than it was in Pokemon Go. I mean, I haven't played Pokemon Go seriously since 2016. But what's great, speaking about Pokemon Go, did you know that in a certain portion of this game, and it happens about, more than halfway through, which is a little bit disappointing, I have to admit, but you could actually transfer everything that you caught from Pokemon Go into this game. As long as it's a Generation 1 Pokemon, and it's a Kanto region Pokemon, you're good to go. Not only that, but you've got the fucking Mega Evolutions in this game as well. Yes, you could have Mega Charizard. Yes, you could have Mega Venusaur, Mega Blastoise. That was a real treat. And that's not the only Mega Evolutions there are. They also have for Alakazam and many others. They become available throughout the game. So that was great that not only do you have the old, but you also have the new. And I love Kanto. I mean, for me, I already explained it in my past, Pokemon Red and Blue review. I think that the original 150 are probably some of the best designs. I do like a lot from other generations, especially Gold and Silver, which I think might actually be a superior game overall. But as far as the monster designs, I gotta go with the first generation. So, once you catch these Pokemon, we're gonna go back to this here for a minute, you get experience points, which is good. So I'm not really seeing why. And also, you no longer have to worry about Pokemon boxes in the PC anymore, in the Pokemon Center, which is great. I caught so many duplicates because this is the problem that people have. People don't like that you have to catch, a lot of the same Pokemon in order to gain experience. But hey, who really cares? Because you have plenty of space in your bag. That's for damn sure. I caught like hundreds of Pokemon. A lot of them being duplicates. And I didn't run out of space. So that's pretty astounding, I have to say. So it didn't really bother me. It gets, I could definitely see why people would say it's tedious. But it takes away that chip damage bullshit. And I'm happy for it. You still got your gym battles. People were saying they didn't like the requirement system to head into the gym battles. And let me tell you something. These requirements are basically like nonsensical. Like, before you go into the water gym, I think you have to prove, into Misty's gym in Cerulean City, I think you have to show that you have at least one grass Pokemon and one or an electric Pokemon. And chances are by this point, you probably have one of those. You have an Oddish, or you have Pikachu with you. So, or if you picked Eevee, the Let's Go Eevee version. So, the gyms also look incredible. They've completely layered them out in 3D. Certain gyms like Sabrina's have gotten a complete, overhaul. One of the most beautiful gyms is Erica, the grass type gym leader in Celadon City. Oh my god, the way they did the garden, it looks so incredible. I mean, that was a true sight to behold. So all of these gym battles are basically the same. They have some different Pokemon, but it was great to see all the original gym leaders there, as you expect, this being a remake. The musical score. Oh my god. The battle music, the gym leader music, and the rival music at the end of the game. Holy shit! This music is great! I mean, these next-gen remixes, or they're more like upgrades to the original soundtrack. They're just such a pleasant treat for the ears. And if you're like me and you absolutely adore the first-generation soundtrack, you are in for a real treat. I mean, listen to some of these tracks here. I mean, they just sound so awesome. You really couldn't ask for a better score. Like, if you don't like anything in this game, you got to at least admit that the music was redone in a very tasteful, very effective manner. So, you've also got some added drama to this game. There's things like, before you enter the rock tunnel, you'll be confronted by Team Rocket, and Lorelei from the Elite Four actually rides in on her Lapras to help you out. And you'll see this throughout the game. Thanks to, the big upgrade of this being on a next-gen console, you get to see a lot of added stuff, a lot of added graphics, a lot of added scenarios that are thrown in, such as when you confront Giovanni of Team Rocket, Team Rocket's leader. It's awesome, especially when you finally go into the last gym in Viridian City to face off against, Giovanni. It's completely epic. I mean, there's so much that the graphics add to this game, and I'm not a graphics whore by any stretch of the imagination. You guys know I love retro games, but like this just adds so much to the presentation, so much to the experience, especially if you're like me and you grew up with the originals. I mean, I understand that probably the audience here is the more casual Pokemon audience, but you gotta imagine that this being a remake of a Gen 1 title, it's also a love letter at the same time. The people like me who grew up with the originals, they're looking at the 8-bit graphics that were in green and black on their old Game Boys, and now to see this gigantic graphical upgrade and some things are added in very tastefully to the remake to try to enhance the experience. And it just like, also in the Pokemon Tower, in Lavender Town, you see the ghost. It's just, this looks great. I was just like, wow. There was so many times when my jaw just dropped because, just to see this thing remade and just look so incredible at the same time. I mean, I just really couldn't get enough of it. And you could also ride on your Pokemon. You could take them out of the balls and have them, run with you, and then at the end of the game, you could actually get on the back of your Charizard and ride up into the air. And you could also catch some Pokemon up there. You'll see some Pidgeotos flying around, some Pharaohs. That's so fucking cool. Also, let's talk about Pikachu in this game. Now, I don't know about Eevee. I guess Eevee learns a lot of the same moves. I haven't played that version of the game. But there's no HMs. And for anybody unaware of what HMs are, they were basically items that you could use on the overworld. When you weren't, you could use them in battle, but you would also be able to use them to traverse the world and, get to certain inaccessible parts, such as the move Surf, which will allow you to travel on water. Now, normally you'd have to teach this to a Pokemon, they'd learn the move, and then you wouldn't be able to delete the move if you wanted to replace it with another move. Now, Pikachu can learn all these moves, and it's pretty fucking great. They've replaced Fly with, I believe it's called Floaty Flight. Pikachu could also use Surf, so this completely removes Pikachu's disadvantage. It's not called Surf, it's a different move where Pikachu uses a surfboard, which is just so fucking cute. And Pikachu is so adorable, it just warms the cockles of my heart. It truly does. And I'm not even kidding around. There's a lot of times where, this game would make me smile. Just like seeing Pikachu, you feel like you're taking care of a real pet here. Anyway, but what I was going to say is that when you run into a rock or a ground type, remember Pikachu or electric types wouldn't be able to do anything against those types of Pokemon? Now you can just lay them out with the fucking surf-like move, and that water type move will just fucking sometimes wipe them out in one hit. And I found that to be really hilarious. People say, oh, Pikachu is overpowered. Who cares? There's one thing that I know is I hate, people hate when they lose. So you know what? If you don't like it, Pikachu, don't use them. See, the great thing about this game is if you don't use a Pokemon and they're still in your party, they gain experience. There's no need for experience share anymore. Remember that item? Because all your Pokemon share the experience. Okay, so that means that an individual Pokemon will level up a little bit slower. But you'll notice that Pikachu will level up quicker, and any Pokemon that you transfer from Pokemon Go also seem to level up a lot quicker. If you catch them in the wild, it takes a little bit more time. But I really didn't have any trouble with this because by the time I got to the Elite Four, most of my Pokemon were over level 60. Thanks also to the abundance of rare candies. There's also other candies that you could use to increase the defense, the attack, and the special attack of your Pokemon, which is also another adjustment that they made to this game. You no longer have to worry about psychic types being overpowered due to there not being any special defense stat. But psychic types still seem to do a fair amount of damage in this game, especially Alakazam, which I used on my party, which I imported over from Pokemon Go, which I would greatly recommend. If you have any favorites over on Pokemon Go, if you play that game and you have them to transfer, do so. It definitely makes the game a lot more enjoyable. You can kind of tell from right here that I had a lot of Pokemon that were just itching to be transferred over into my copy of Let's Go Pikachu. And another complaint that I will address is that there's no held items in the game. To this I say, who gives two fucking shits? I don't fucking care about that. If you're talking about Pokemon being overpowered, the last thing you need to do is have Pokemon holding items. I mean, I don't get it. It's like people complain about shit and then they contradict themselves in their own arguments. Overall, guys, what I have to say here is I understand some of the complaints that there were some changes made to the wild Pokemon, but that's about it. Almost everything added to this game was pretty much an improvement. Better graphics, a better enjoyable experience. They've expanded on the story as best as they could without really changing too much of the source material. I'm pretty happy. I gotta say, I'm a pretty happy Pokemon fan when it comes to this game. I think they did a great job. I really would like to see a Johto entry in the series. Let's have Let's Go Cyndaquil game. I think that would be pretty fucking cool. I like this idea of, kind of combining it. It works. I got tired of Pokemon Go, but, this game got me to crack out Pokemon Go again so I could transfer my Pokemon. So, I like how they combined the mechanics. And like I said, I really enjoyed the new catching mechanic. It wasn't that bad for me. So, guys, if you're a big Pokemon fan, or even if you're a casual, Pokemon fan, I would say give this game a try. Do not listen to all the detractors until you've played it for yourself. I say that with movies. I say that with music as well all the time. Check it out for yourself. I understand that it's a $60 game, but at least, wait for a price drop if you're unsure. Wait till the game's on sale and check it out for yourself. I guarantee you that you will find something to like about this game. I would say that you would at least find this game to be a 7 out of 10 if we're rating things. I'm not going to rate the game because I think you can tell I'm very enthusiastic about it. I'm a big fan, and I might be a bit biased because I'm a Pokemon fan, but hey, if it was a bad game and I had problems with the mechanics, I would say that. I'm saying I see the arguments. I'm just saying it really didn't get in the way of my experience, and this is pretty much my opinion. That's how I review games. It's my opinion and how I view the game and what my experience was. And it was pretty positive. So, guys, like I said, give it a try. It couldn't hurt, especially when there's a price drop. So, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the other videos I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. Until next time.